What is the world's definition of love, and how are you sometimes tempted to believe this perspective? So, what is the world's definition of love? I think the world's definition of love is that people ought to feel loved. That love, true love, is based on how people feel. It's based on how you feel about somebody or based on how you make other people feel. Would you say that's pretty accurate? For the most part. I mean, of course, we're going to find probably differences, but I'd say for the most part, it seems like people base your actions as if your actions are loving, then they will not make anybody feel uncomfortable. If your actions are loving, then they will not make anybody feel bad. That's the way the world views it. Where if your actions or your words make somebody feel bad, then they probably aren't loving, is the way that the world views it. Now we're going to look at what is the biblical perspective. It seems like the biblical perspective of love is our adherence to his commands. If we adhere to his commands and we are treating people appropriately to their actions, if they are to be treated with kindness, we are treating them with kindness. We are treating them appropriately to the situation. And we are saying things in truth, and we actually care for them, then is that loving? It's loving despite how they feel. Does that make sense? So even if they feel bad about what is said, that doesn't mean it's unloving. That's a tough reality because you don't want to be seen as unloving or intolerant. Do you remember in the story that we read, it talked about how there's a lot of, the perception is that there's a lot of Christians who are hypocrites. Mm-hmm. And if you think that's true, then what you would have to also believe is that we are not correcting our own enough. And so if you think it's true, then you would have to point at yourself as the problem because you're part of the church that can call people to repentance. So if you see that there is repentance that's needed, first take the log out of your own eye, but also take the speck out of the other person's eye. And therefore, when we do that in truth and love, and we're obedient, then we can help protect the church from false teaching and false living.